Hi everybody, my name is Dennis and welcome back to another album review. Today we're reviewing the latest album soundtrack, whatever you want to call it, from Logic entitled Supermarket. Now was released with the pairing of his latest novel by the same name, and I'll be honest, I haven't read it, I really don't know anything about the book, so if anything about the book does make the album better, more intriguing, or more interesting, feel free to tell me about it, because I would love to hear that, because the album on its own is frankly not that good. I've heard a lot of really negative things about it, and a lot of them I do agree with to an extent, but I don't think it's quite as bad as some have made it out to be. I do think there are a couple of solid tracks on here, especially the opening two cuts, Bohemian Rhapsody and Can I Kick It. I like the fun, upbeat, light guitar production, and Logic's vocals are actually really good on here, unlike many of the other tracks on this album, if I'm being honest. Where Bohemian Rhapsody is this very long, very drawn out, really enjoyable track that goes through a couple of different phases, where it starts off as a simple, almost indie rock kind of song, because that's the vibe this album is going for. And then it slowly switches up into a rap verse, which is actually really good. I do think that the transitioning bridge between it is a bit awkward and not all that enjoyable, but I think the parts that come before and after it are pretty well done. I enjoyed them quite a bit, if I'm being honest. Can I Kick It? I also really liked the sampling on this song. I thought it was used really well, and it's used in a really catchy, fun way. And again, I really like the guitars that go into the background of this. And even though at the very beginning of the track they do sound a bit strange and almost played in an improper way, almost like they weren't pushing the frets down all the way or something like that, and it had an awkward buzzing, clicking sound to it that a guitar shouldn't be making if you're playing it right. But then it quickly adjusted itself and became much more enjoyable and much more fun to listen to. However, aside from these, there isn't a whole lot to gain from this album, at least sonically. Much of it is very generic, uninteresting, and unimaginative indie rock-esque sounds, and it goes even as far as to completely rip off artists like Mac DeMarco, and I know Mac DeMarco helped him make the track Vacation from Myself, but still, it feels like a blatant ripoff without any of the charm or aesthetic beauty from the vocals of Mac DeMarco that make his songs enjoyable. It's just bad karaoke. With that being said, the lyrics on this album are absolutely atrocious. They are horribly written. If this says anything about his writing for the novel, it's probably a good thing I didn't read it. Because he often comes across as a creep, as a pervert, and as a stalker on here, and he even addresses that, but he says I'm not a stalker, I feel like a creep, but I know I'm not, when really you are. If you follow a girl to her place of work just to see her, you just go into the store just to see her, you're not being romantic, you're being creepy. And he even states pretty explicitly how she said that she just wanted a friend, she didn't want a relationship. And then he's saying, well, I can give you what you need, and she's saying, well, I need a friend, which shows that he obviously doesn't care about her, he cares about himself. He's tricked himself into thinking he cares about her. I think he's in denial of this, but it just comes across as him caring about his own needs of a relationship and not caring about the needs of her, where, dude, you should be thankful she's willing to be your friend after the creepy interactions you're having with her. And it's really just a horrible, horrible thing that I hope people don't imitate. I really hope people don't imitate this, because it's a bad way to go about things. Just be a normal person, have conversations, and if you really want to keep in touch, just get their phone number, get their Instagram or something. I mean, you don't have to stalk their workplace and know when they get off and when they work just so you can see them. That's really, really creepy. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. It's a really, really bad thing to do. I also thought many of the vocals on this album were pretty awkward and pretty uninteresting. I especially disliked the song Lemon Drop. I thought the beat was pretty annoying. I thought the lyrics... I didn't think I would ever hear the phrase, "How many licks to lick your lemon drop," and I don't think I ever want to hear it again. It's... Ugh. It's just disgusting. No. Horrible. Horrible. I'm Probably Gonna Rock Your World is another really boring track that really doesn't do anything for me at all. There's also the song Time Machine, which feels kind of awkward, at least as far as the narrative goes, where he's going back in time repeatedly trying to save someone's life, but they keep dying. And I don't know if this is supposed to be symbolic for him trying to achieve this relationship over and over again and constantly being rejected, but this idea, this metaphor, this theme, or whatever you want to call it, is never brought up again, is never even acknowledged later in the album. Maybe vaguely referenced in the song DeLorean, but nothing significant. It just feels kind of awkward, kind of out of place, and doesn't really stir up any emotions. And from there, after that point is when he just starts getting really creepy with songs Pretty Young Girl and Supermarket and Baby, which are all just big old creep fests of songs. Then he starts getting weird, really weird, with Lemon Drop and I'm Probably Gonna Rock Your World, where I feel scared for her almost, where the song Lemon Drop is very sexually charged, for lack of a better term, and I'm Probably Gonna Rock Your World just seems really disturbing and unsettling and almost kind of rapey in it to an extent, and I really don't like that. It's unsettling and a bit disturbing, if anything. Then we have Vacation for Myself and DeLorean, which are just bland, generic pop rock loves ballads that they're just really forgettable. There's not a whole lot to say about them because they're just really forgettable. There was also a song in the middle that's kind of like Time Machine, just kind of sticks out randomly, called By the Bridge, where he effectively finds a dead body by a bridge, and that's kind of sort of all that happens in the song. He doesn't really talk about the emotions that could go through his head, at least not to a significant degree. He doesn't talk about the significance of what happened or how it even relates to anything that's going on here. It's pretty just random and unnecessary, if you ask me. I also thought the closing song, I Love You Forever, is not that great, where he starts just hating on himself a whole bunch, talking about, oh, well, I don't have money, and, you know, I'm not that good looking, and blah, 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 and just like all these shallow criticisms of himself. And it's okay to criticize yourself, especially in music like this, but make it something meaningful, make it something deep, make it something that really does bring out your character. Maybe you could bring out this idea of how you really do feel like you're being creepy, because you are being creepy, but talk about how that just eats you up inside, how you know that it's wrong, or how you know that you have better means of getting in touch with her, or something, and maybe that leads to some sort of inner turmoil and a search for one's own self. Something. Give me something to work with, and not just, I don't have money and I can't be everything you need, because that idea has been put in love songs for the past 30, 40 plus years. Please, give me something new. And from there, it's just the girl saying, you are enough and I do love you, pretty much out of nowhere, because she never shows this emotion, or at least never through the album anywhere before it. Again, she explicitly states she needs a friend. She doesn't need a relationship like this, she needs a friend. And then all of a sudden, she's willing to be in a relationship because he's such a great guy, apparently. I don't get it. It seems illogical, out of place, and just a happy ending with no real context to it. I mean, I guess if you call ending up with the character Logic is portraying as being a happy ending, which I wouldn't think so. I know it sounds like I'm being pretty harsh on this album, but I honestly didn't hate it that much. I did think there were some guitar patterns and some instrumental moments here and there that were more enjoyable, but they were oftentimes brought down by awkward vocals. Sometimes there would be other instrumental segments that were really poorly done and really just underdeveloped. And, of course, the absolutely atrocious lyricism on practically every song on here. So, there are certain elements of many of these songs that I think show a lot of potential and show that Logic could have done this album really well. And I think it's great that Logic is trying new things. I don't hate this because it's not a rap album. I am, if anything, happy it's not a rap album. Not because I dislike rap in general, but just because I'm happy to see someone trying something new. But what Logic's doing doesn't feel that new. It just feels like it's something new for him. He does very little to push the genre forward, to really innovate much of anything. So all that being said, I'm feeling a strong 3 on this album. If you checked it out, be sure to tell me what you thought of it. Be sure to tell me how wrong my opinion is, as always, and I'll see you in the next review.